This is from Mundane Factor 7686. Building an air pollution app need brutal feedback and ideas. I'm building an app that tracks your location and sends alerts when AQI fluctuates. AQI is moderate, better wear a mask, avoid long exposure, etc. But let's be real. I know this is just a band-aid, not a cure. People aren't unaware of air pollution. They just ignore it until it affects them directly. I want this app to go beyond just pushing alerts. I want it to make people care, act, or at least feel the weight of the problem. What should I add or build around this? What would actually drive behavior change or contribution? Hit me up with ideas. Brutally, honestly, welcome.
Okay.
First off, they have the right question here is behavior change. That's the absolute right question to ask.
Yeah. So above and beyond that, right? So air quality information is more than just pollution. That also includes things like mold spores.
Oh, yeah.
And so I already like this idea because I can tell you, for example, that one of my daughters is highly allergic to mold spores.
Okay.
If we are in an area where mold spores are heavy, that night, because it's not instant, but that night, she is going to be totally stuffed up, not be able to sleep. She's gonna, she fills up with mucus. If I had an app that would alert me, like let's say we went on a road trip or we were going to spend the day at the park and I get an alert because it senses that I'm sitting in the park, that the area that I'm in has an extremely high mold count today. We're not staying at the park for 4 hours. We're staying there for an hour.
Now, how does the weather alert systems give you that information?
There are sensors. They have sensors
for that. Okay.
For air quality.
Okay.
So like this technology is there. It's just not constantly being updated, right?
Okay.
So he would have to build out a bigger network of that. That's where it feeds information more frequently. But
wouldn't you get the information from the government sensors? Does the government?
I don't know. No, it doesn't. Literally, I go onto a website that's local to us that does the air quality by borough here.
Right.
By county.
But that's government. The government has to provide that information.
I don't know.
I don't think there's any private organizations providing that.
I don't know. So I get the information from a private.
Yes, but the information is coming from a government.
The data probably comes from like the weather service or something.
It has to.
Yeah. But I like this idea of air quality alerts where you are at, right? Because you may be unaware, especially if you're traveling.
Yep.
Like most people don't know that we sit in this perfect pocket where mold spore count is incredibly high.
Oh yeah.
Compared to many other regions, right? But if someone is traveling to Philadelphia, they may not be aware of that.
Sure.
And if you are highly allergic to mold, then at least you can plan for it, right? You can take your antihistamines, whatever, before you come, or you at least know to limit your outdoor exposure during those seasons, right?
Okay, so let's say we do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that the mold is, we have a tool that tells us.
Yep.
That's not necessarily his question. His question is basically, what do I do with that? How do I get people? He wants people to care. He wants people to contribute. He wants people to recognize, right? Pollution and air quality and stuff like that. Okay, so now how do we turn this into a business of some sort? We have the information. Let's say we can get it from weather system or whatever, right?
Correct.
For a government facility or a government entity. What do we do with it?
I would pay money for an app that I could run where it could go to my smartwatch if pollen count or mold count got too high in my area, for example, right? And I'm sure that there are other people. The thing is, you have to start with the part that makes you money. You have to start with where the need is that people are willing to pay for before you go into solving the bigger problem that is your vision. If you don't get the users on board, if you don't get the payments coming in, now you could have a free version of the app, but the free version does not do allergens.
Right.
Right. The free version only does air quality, like.
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Right.
There's additional things you can get. Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
So the free part becomes the stuff that you want to change ideologically. The paid stuff becomes the stuff that people are actually need.
Now, I'm ignorant on how this all works, so let me ask you, since obviously you know a little bit more about it.
Okay.
We're in the Warrington, Doylestown area, right? Yep. So let's just say Warrington and Doylestown. Would there be different air quality from Warrington to Doylestown, which is 10 miles up the road?
I think it's going to be largely dependent on how so I'm not 100% on this, but a lot of it has to do with the amount of farmland and the amount of forestry. So there may not be a huge difference between Warrington and Warminster, but there may be a huge difference between Doylestown and Bensalem.
Okay.
Right? Because Bensalem doesn't have nearly the amount of woods or, farmland or any of that stuff that we have up here. So yeah, that could make a difference. Same thing.
This is why I bring that up. So one of the things that comes to mind for me is finding a way to integrate that into GPS, into maps, right? So when people are driving, they could say what the air quality is where they are, where it's going to be, where they're going, and what the air quality is going to be, especially for people with kids like you that have issues with that.
So if I could go, one of my girls, we went up to Knoebels the one year.
Yep.
She absolutely fell in love with the place, and now we go every year.
Yep.
Right? I try to plan the trip up there because normally we go up, we stay overnight, we're there for a couple of days. I try to plan it either during the peak of summer, when pollen count is low,
right,
or right at the end of the season, if possible, when it's a little bit colder, but pollen count can still be high. But I literally go and I look up what the pollen count is up there before I decide whether we're going up or not. And a lot of them only track pollen count. They don't track mold.
Right.
And I'm looking for the specific mold number.
Okay.
Right? Because that's the
you were looking for mold. Other people like me, I'm looking for pollen.
Correct. Right. But once again, that is something I would be willing to pay for. Now, I would probably only subscribe 8 months out of the year because during the winter months, we normally don't need it and it doesn't get tracked. But the problem is, so for example, the difference between the pollen and the mold, in the wintertime, you still have the mold. Right? Because mold spores don't die. Yep. So as the leaves crumble and all that stuff, they hibernate. That doesn't.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So you need like a certain amount of freezing temperature, and I don't even think that kills them. It just hibernates them.
Well,
right?
You know a lot about this.
But because
obviously,
right? Like you have no idea like how sensitive I am to it. Like I'm not considered allergic, but if I don't take antihistamine, through the fall, I am non-functional because of the amount of snot that builds up in my system. Like literally, I will have headaches every day. I have problems sleeping because of the amount of phlegm. So like I had to be acutely aware of this stuff. But the problem is, if you're outside, it's let's say end of fall, the leaves are all like crumpled up and it's windy, that mold is still flying around. Well, once you get inside and it warms up, that mold now starts affecting you, even though it didn't affect you while you were outside.
No, it makes sense.
So yeah, like it's something that I'm acutely aware of because of how it affects me and both my daughters, actually, one way worse than the other.
Is there any way, I think the answer to this is no, but is there any way to have your own detector?
Yes, but the problem is it's very hard for me to plan a trip to Knoebels or plan a trip. I'm
not even talking about that. So let's say there's two parts to it, right? I'm just trying to expand upon their idea. So there's two parts. One part is I'm going somewhere. What's the weather service say is the air quality and the mold count and all that stuff at that place, right? That's, I don't want to use the word, but relatively easy to do because the information's readily available. But what about your home? And you want to know what your mold count is in the house, right? Is there something you could use, a device you can have at home that would track that for you and you can see it from your phone? So you can do both. You have it.
There is.
Yes. Okay.
So there is one that you can install in your house and it monitors just the air quality in your house.
So combine the two together. I like that. You have an app that does all that.
So you would need to build a device that mounts outside of someone's house.
Of course.
That would give you real-time data from locations. That's actually a good idea. So build a detector.
That's why I said it. Okay.
that goes outside and it gives real-time updates on pollen counts wherever you have it. Like you would probably have to front the first 1,000 or 2,000 just to get a service area established, but it doesn't even have to be that close. Like once again, if I knew there was a detector in Doylestown and I knew there's one in Allentown, now, what's it, Dorney Park up there?
Yeah.
Now I can at least get an idea. Like if the pollen count down here is high, but it's moderate with the guy up in Allentown, chances are Dorney Park's going to be moderate. That means I can spend 4 or 5 hours there.
Yeah.
But if it's high, then no,
You can't spend as much time there.
Correct.
So okay, so let me again back up and bring it more local. So I'm running an experiment on myself this year. I'm trying not to take any allergy meds. I haven't taken any allergy meds this year, and believe me, I'm paying the price for it.
Yes, you are.
I don't know if I can do it much longer. I've tried usually around mid-April to early May. I start taking allergy meds, and I take them all through October. Right?
I take antihistamine 365 days a year.
Wow. I don't. Fortunately, I'm not that bad, but Zyrtec has been my go-to.
Mm-hmm.
It worked well for years. But this year, I'm just, for whatever reason, I'm trying not to take it. Some days are good, some days are bad. What I'm getting at is, my wife and I, if we have something that we fight about, not even fight, there's something that we just don't see eye to eye on, it's the open windows at night. She loves the open window at night.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would love to keep the window open at night, but I just die
Yes.
from all the allergens
Yes.
and pollen and stuff like that. I would love if there was, obviously it looks like there is something like this app could help me understand what happens in our room at night with the allergens, right?
So yeah, you could get the
Is it really because the window's open, or if the window's closed and we're still going to get a lot of
right. So
pollen in?
if you have a detector in your house,
Yeah.
you can monitor.
That's
the
what I'm saying.
differences. Yeah,
Right. So you could do something like that too.
Correct.
Right. So you can have a detector. This isn't just tying into the weather system, right?
No.
It's or the government's weather information. You could build detectors and have people have it in their homes as well.
Correct. But yeah, for these purposes, you would have to differentiate between inside and outside monitors.
Of course.
But yeah, I like this. Once again, if you can get people to pay for the service they need, you can crusade on what you want to change.
Yeah.
And there's people in other parts of the country that, let's take asthma patients.
Yeah.
Asthma patients are highly sensitive to carbon dioxide.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. I'm aware of that.
So for them, this would be super beneficial whenever they go into a city, right? If they get a warning, right? And you could make this like super cool if you wanted to, where it senses in what direction you're traveling and it gives you the warning before you even get there. Right?
Yeah.
I will guarantee you there are asthma patients that
would love absolutely pay for that. Of
Yes.
course, absolutely. Well, not even just that, but again, you talk about your children, right? We protect our kids.
Yep.
If I want to know, like if my son or my daughter has a mold allergy like yours does, I want to know what it's going to be like when we get there.
So like, I like this idea. I'm not sure about the changing people's behaviors. I think if you can get wide adoption on this, like if you get it past the tipping point. So all this stuff has like tipping. It's the early adopters. You need to get them on board first. And the early adopters are the one that really need this and are willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I agree.
Before you start getting mass adoption, right? So be patient with it. Focus on who could be an early adopter. Get them to start paying you. Then you can start making free versions that only monitor the things that you want people to be acutely aware of.
Yeah.
Because awareness triggers change.
Sure.
Right? So, yeah, that's my take.
All right. So, I do like the idea, mundane factor. I do like the idea. I think, again, you have the universal information, which can come from any one of the government weather services. I also like the idea of making it a little more micro, and having something in the home, being able to monitor quality in the house, in addition to, but they also think about integrating into some type of GPS or something like that, where you could, have Google Maps or Waze or something like that can tap into an API with, that you built, and then they can use that information to tell people what the air quality is like where they're going. People that was a great point, by the way, with the asthma patients. People would absolutely pay for something like that. Yeah.
Like,
it's life or death, man. It can be. It literally can be.
Yeah. I mean, for my daughter, if this service was, let's say, $4.99 a month, I would absolutely spend the $60 a year just so that she wouldn't have to go through the nights where we were like, man, because we don't want to give her allergy medicine all the time because it only happens when the mold count is high, not the pollen, right? So like I have to monitor that specifically.
I'd imagine that's after rainstorms and stuff, right?
Yes.
Within a few days of rain,
yes.
Mold must pick up quite a bit.
It's way worse in the fall than in the spring.
Sure, because it's the fall, then the spring. Okay, because it's cooler.
All the leaves are turned to You get increased mold spores.
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray.
Yep.
Yeah. Song.
Yeah, I know what song it is. If you found this clip interesting, make sure to go listen to the full podcast. There's lots more content there.